Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Three Men and a Vape Show. It is Wednesday and it is 8 PM. That means one thing, that it is Wednesday and it is 8 PM. And Three Men and a Vape Show is back. Yes, we've had 3 weeks of where we have not been here to give you your entertainment needs over the week. And we are joined by the wonderful casters, the one and only Harley Wally Macarali. How are you, brother?
I'm all good. It's Wednesday and we're here. It's amazing.
I'll tell you what, your hat's looking lovely, son.
He's dusted all the cocaine off it. That's why.
I've had to tip it up. You can still see something that's not cocaine now.
It's come on. Let's be totally honest with you. You've got a new baby, so it's going to be definitely baby milk, isn't it?
It's not. I ain't got a clue what it is.
Exactly. Do you know what? My wife spent years and years doing that. You know, like, what the fuck? Oh, it's sick. It's sick. You know what I mean? In fact, we had the kids that close together. That's all my wife smelt like for like six years. Sick.
But you know, I'm a bit of a weird fuck.
What, you're into sick?
Yeah. No.
Is this a revelation?
No, I'm awkward with things like wallets. I like my wallet as it is. So when my wallet gets knackered, I can't just go and get another wallet. You can't just buy me another wallet. I need one that's the same. But it's in my hat. I've got like 7 flat caps, and I only wear this one. And everyone's like, "Oh, it's knackered. I'll buy you a new one." So they buy me a new one, and then I'm like, "Well, it can go in box." I mean, this one, I've even soldered the button back on because it's absolutely knackered. But I will not wear the others because I like this one.
So what you're saying is, eventually we're going to see you on BBC Hoarders.
Do you know, I'm going to tell you something as well. I used to have a flat cap, but he left me.
Oh.
I'm here all week. Do try the fish. And ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by the one and only Mr. B on a stack neck as well. Show him, bro. Show him. A bit of a puff on it.
Oh, go on then. Just for you.
Oh, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Stacked neck.
Woo! The DWM Evil Twin. Oh, with an isolation tank.
Oh, man.
Damn, this is fucking nice.
It's all right, I keep doing that. Dun, 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 dun. So, does that mean there's actually going to be a review out on it, or?
Well, maybe. You know what my channel's like. I release videos as and when I want to. So it just, yeah, there probably will be at some point.
More as than want to.
Yeah. So there probably will be. I mean, this was sent to me by Chico. The amazing co-builder. Chico. And the mech was sent to me by Matthew. So I've got 2 sent items that look absolutely wonderful together. Be shame not to use them.
It looks good. It looks good in the hood. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who has joined us this evening. You lot are a bunch of stars. We have totally and utterly missed you. Just to give you a little bit of an update that what's been happening. Obviously, I've been working back in town, so it's like 12-hour shifts. You start at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you don't finish till 12 at night. So,
those street corners can be hard work, can't they?
Exactly. So it has been a little bit of hard work. It has been a little bit different. So we have had 3 weeks off. Also, Louise hasn't been very good. Unfortunately, Louise had a mini stroke. We thought it was that she had... which was, what did I say? What's it called?
Is that the medical
shingles? They thought it was shingles, but then when she had the scan, unfortunately, it turned out that she had a mini stroke. But she's actually fine. She's all right. She's getting through everything. So yeah, things haven't been very good at home. So, but moving on, we're doing pretty well. Everything's all good. I've got a bit of cold. I haven't. Got a bit of cold.
My house is nice and warm.
Well, you've had your new heating, haven't you?
Oh yes. Oh, new fandangle aerated heating with like wireless sensors and shit.
Is it me, or did you just turn into that dog from? Oh yes.
Oh yes, Churchill.
Oh yes.
Oh
yes.
Yeah, big love to Lou. I'll tell you what, she's been struggling for the last month a bit. I'll tell you what, you must all be fed up of hearing about it. We do have these things that happen to us where this year's just been shit for health. I know you've had the same, Mr. B, with stuff that's happened to your house. But
everyone round the board has had a pretty much shit year. Where it's me, you, Lou, Vic, everywhere he hears like, I'm fucking dying. Yeah. It's like, Jesus. And this year's has been like the worst for health for everybody.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a shitty one, and I'll tell you, I'm going to say this, but the worst bit was when she was sat in bed and she was absolutely crying. You know what I mean? Just because of the pain. And they've given her different painkillers, which have like totally knocked her out. And obviously she's doing a nurse's course, so she's had like so many weeks off from that as well, which is like sort of put her in a little bit of depression with that. So
understandable.
Yeah, big love to everybody. Thank you so much, everybody in chat. Right, we're gonna go straight into the meat and potatoes of the show, which is that me and Mr. B, and Ollie came in halfway through like he normally does. He always likes coming in last. We were talking about tell them the story.
China. We were talking about China. So it popped up in the news today that China has amended its laws so that vaping manufacturers and sellers fall under the authority of the country's state tobacco monopoly administration. The industry will now be tightly controlled by the authoritarian government regulators. Sounds very Star Wars, doesn't it? So it sounds very Star Wars, doesn't it? It's coming under the
way Empire. You said it was, yeah.
The change was ordered by the State Council Cabinet and signed off by Premier Li Keqiang. It was announced last Friday, according to Reuters. The new policy has been expected since the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology released draft rules in March. It takes effect immediately.
Sorry, everybody might be looking here. I'm like fanning around with windows here.
What's collapsed?
What? Nothing's collapsed.
What the first bit?
Right. So what they've done is in China, they've taken the vaping industry and gone, no, now you fall under the tobacco industry. So you're all the same thing. And tobacco is heavily monetized in China. It equates to 5% of their total income.
So Ollie, I know you're the graphs man. You're into all this sort of shiznit. What I was trying to say is if you got the actual people who are making these products, don't, in my mind, do not fall under that sort of tax bracket. So the people who make alcohol, like who brew it, they sit in the brewery. Obviously, you might have hops might go up or stuff like that, but they're not going to tax it from that point, are they? They're going to tax it to the point of where it's e-liquid, not so much on the point of where they're going to start taxing somebody who's manufacturing vape products.
Wait.
Oh, you're getting into it already.
Interesting. They did change tax for brewers not too long ago, so that they had to pay tax before they sold the beer. And any of it weren't sold, that they had to claim back. I know it's because obviously I used to work at PUBG. I got quite a lot of friends that.
But you're on about you're not on about the actual brew. You're not actually somebody who sat down there brewing it. You're on about somebody at the point of buying it.
What I was then going to move on to is, but that doesn't apply to the people that makes the glasses or the ampoules. They don't have to pay alcohol license fees to make a handful or to make a glass. So it's frustrating, but it has always pissed me off that all mods, vape, paraphernalia, whatever, all has this contains nicotine sticker on it. I was actually saying something last week. We should actually do them for false advertising. If you buy a mod with no liquid in it, and it comes with a sticker saying it comes with nicotine in it, and you open it, ain't got any nicotine in it, you're going, well, what the fuck? I bought this because I wanted some nicotine and it ain't got any in it.
Let us know about this in chat, because it's what I say this all the time when I review anything. Anything that has got that stupid statement on it is absolutely... This product contains nicotine, which is a highly addictive substance. It's not. So if you sit down there and you get a 0 nicotine, you don't put it in there, it doesn't contain there's no nicotine in it.
Here's the big question mark here. Now, none of us know what this means. We can, however, surmise. Now, the interesting part of everything that I've read out is that vaping manufacturers and sellers now fall under this monopoly. With the amount of income that China gets from tobacco products, and knowing that it is a communist state, we can surmise that they see vaping as a threat to that income. So what this means for the future, we don't know, but we can heavily surmise that it's not going to be brilliant, and it probably means more expensive mods.
I disagree with this. Is what we were arguing about.
I think it does. Why would they bring vaping manufacturers into it if it has no?
Yeah, well, they put in vaping under they're not manufacturers might be into it, but they're not going to highly tax building it. How can you put?
We don't know that. We don't. This is China we're talking about. They're hardly logical, you know. When it comes to money, is anybody ever logical?
Neither do you either. But
no, that's why I said you can hardly surmise.
It's like the fact of when the TPD came in and we all sat here, and I tell you what, this is why I love this point. This is why I said to us, let's go straight into it. We did shows. There's people out there. When we go back maybe 4 or 5 years ago, when we sat here and we spoke about the TPD, we didn't know what was going to happen. We thought there was going to be, you weren't going to be able to have this. There were people stocking up on nicotine. They were putting gallons of it in the freezers. Again, it's one of the things. It's the same as what's happening over in the US. The products that they can't get, but they are still getting the products because they're coming through different different people who are shipping them out.
Yeah, selling them as torches and shit.
Yeah, or oil burners.
Do we as a country not class Rizzlers as tobacco products?
I don't know. I think it might do. Here's the thing, though. This is something that I thought of straight away when I read this. When I read this is how will Hong Kong be affected? Because a lot of manufacturers are in Hong Kong. And Hong Kong has its own set of laws and stuff.
Now you're getting into a total different thing. So now Hong Kong...
Ooh.
No, Hong Kong wasn't owned by China at all.
Mm.
So it went in... that they took over it, but they had to be as a democracy state, so they couldn't be sat as obviously China is a communist state because it was actually ruled by the UK. So that's where all that trouble started off, where they were all rioting because they were trying to put the rules on it. Now, when you get stuff sent out from China or anything like that, it did come through Hong Kong. So China would send it through to Hong Kong, and then Hong Kong would send it over to us because the rules are totally different.
Yeah.
The majority of vaping stuff is in Shenzhen.
Mainland.
Yeah, it's the majority of it. But me personally, I don't think anything is going to change. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to do the same as America have done and everybody else, is the actual vaping side of it. They're not. But do you not think
if China all of a sudden, or this monopoly board decides to really kick vaping in the nuts, do you not think a lot of these companies in shares and they go, well, fuck you, we're off to Hong Kong?
Well, they couldn't really because obviously they're still under the rule of China.
Well, no, because Hong Kong has its own high degree of autonomy.
Well, that's where all the riots have just come from. So really,
they still have their own. They still have, as it stands right now, their own degree of autonomy, and still can make their own laws.
So again, we're probably going to get the channel shut down. Here we go. Here's my flat cap. It's here. My flat cap's here. I told you to eventually. Lovely flat cap. I'm going to say something to you. Do you know? Obviously, this with the COVID and all that stuff that happened. Another one of the conspiracy theories were that this sort of thing was done in a lab to control the people who was actually rioting in Hong Kong.
Well, yeah, that's conspiracy theories, though. And we know what conspiracy theories are, don't we?
Yeah, that you've actually got a penis.
But, no, that's a fallacy. That's not a conspiracy, that's a fallacy.
It's here!
I haven't seen my penis since I was 5 years old, so I can't tell you if it's still there or not.
Do you actually name your penis?
It was called George.
George, what's the name of your penis, Harley?
Dragon.
Why are you assuming that I have a penis?
Oh, here we go.
Are you gender assuming, Aiden?
I'm so sorry.
He's not binary.
What's your microwave knob called?
If you say Mr. B, we're having fucking words after this show.
No, he's definitely going to go to A and then we'll go to fucking B. I'll tell you what, while we're still in all in a great, good mood, what we're going to do is the people on the catch-up.
This one's for all the cool cats on the replay.
People on the catch-up. Harley, have you done that with your hot computer?
Yeah, I don't know what's up with if you see smoke in a minute, it's because it's not my vape, it's my laptop. We've got Graham Spears, another great show. Big love to you all. Jane Dode, dude.
Big love
Due
to
to a
Jane.
long delay at work, I had to catch on replay. It's okay, Jane, as long as you came. We love you. We love you anyway.
That's what he said.
Danny Turner, my dad's mate is a lorry driver. He took a full lorry load of NHS equipment that was all in sealed boxes because it has all been in care homes and stuff. They had to bin them. Before COVID, they would have took them back and cleaned them, but because they can't now because of the staff and resources to make them clean again, results in millions of pounds worth of money loss. And that's all we've got, guys.
Big love to everybody on the replay. Don't forget, on this show, we're back next week. Don't worry about it. Please make sure you put on in the replay and in the comments. Let us know what you all think about what we're talking about tonight as well. Big love to Zan. Love you loads, bro. I know everything that's going off. Love you loads, mate. You know that. Big love to you, bro. But yeah, going back onto the China shizney. But I know China. We're going to be American presidents. I feel the same sort of way as maybe a lot of people were saying in chat. If you're making the bit, you know, like the aluminium that's in it, why is that going to suddenly get charged?
Well, why is vaping being attacked in America?
Well, you know why? Because
the point is, it's not logical. We're sat here making logical arguments to an unlogical situation.
I think
vaping shouldn't even be lumped in with tobacco to begin with, but it has been.
I think you're also forgetting that China does what China wants. China's a dictatorship, it right? Doesn't give a fuck.
Well done, Jane. Yeah. So I don't think you can actually bring in America to China.
You was arguing similarities between China and. Hang on.
No. I was actually on about I were actually on about government as a whole. It doesn't matter whether you were China, America, or us. We are just. I'm sorry, that's not some sort of Toy Story place where you can go and get toys from. I'm on about it doesn't matter whether UK or anybody, the government, we are just numbers. It doesn't matter who you have in there, we're just numbers, and it doesn't matter what we say. And much as you think communism and all the rest of it's different to whatever, we're just the numbers and the people who are giving the money. But what I'm saying to you is America have the reason why is because they have the health insurance has to be paid, and they've got the tobacco agreement. They've also overspent in the actual places, the constituents. What they called over there? It's not
numbers.
Pardon?
Numbers.
States. So the different states that they've got, they've overspent on it, and that's the reason why America is doing what they're doing is to bowl it over because the actual smoking bit gives them money. Vaping doesn't.
Well, yeah, no, they actually all. The tobacco industry money for a start, because the tobacco industry bailed them out many years ago, but still bailed them out, and they still owe on that money. So the tobacco industry has a lot of say.
You do know about the it was to do with the I just said a minute ago, the tobacco. The bit that I said. So basically, they came across that in I think it was the 70s, 72. And it wasn't the fact of that they was going to bail them out on money. What they were going to do was he's stopping people taking them to court. That was the whole point.
No, but the tobacco industry has lent money to the US government.
No, that was they might have done it before it, but it was after it. And then it went in as bonds. So they all had bonds. So when they all sold the bonds...
Comments are saying now, master settlement agreement in the 90s.
Master settlement agreement.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So when the master settlement agreement came out, then what happened then is they had bonds. And then when everything was going tits up, the actual tobacco companies went back and bought these bonds back and then started calling the bonds back in.
I'm just reading Rob Stanley's point here. China produces vapes, which is good for their economy, whereas vaping affects the USA economy in a negative way. It's not that hard to understand, for fuck's sake. We're not misunderstanding that point. We're surmising or we're thinking about what might happen now that the vaping industry in China has now been put under the STMA, which is the State Tobacco Monopoly Administration. Yes, I had to read that because I still can't understand what that fucking means. But no, it's State Tobacco Monopoly Administration. Is it a good thing? Or is it going to mean more money for mods or more money for liquids? Or we're guessing
like what I was saying to you, I don't think it's going to be so much on the manufacturing side of it. I think it's going to be more to do with the liquids. Because you think about the amount of people, you look at Thailand and all the people like that who now have actually switched back. Thailand, they banned vaping. They've switched back.
They did, yeah.
But what I think is the meaning more is it's going to be the liquids, not so much the manufacturing of it. Just going back onto the US again with the US, you had the master settlement agreement, and they and the actual big tobacco companies, they bought the bonds back from them. They bought these bonds. So then when they knew everything were collapsing, they're calling the bonds back in. So all these states now who've spent their money 10 times in front, thinking they're getting it back in, now have no money. So they'll legalise weed and marijuana, but they won't. They want to jump on top of vaping because they're not getting the money back from smoking.
No, true. I mean, here's one question, switching back to China. With the whole thing going under the STMA, could the STMA dictate what kind of mods are allowed to be produced? They could turn around and say, you don't need to produce meth mods. You don't need to produce it. If you're just trying to get people off smoking, just produce this.
Do you think...
Could it be?
Harley,
Could,
do you think, obviously, if the big companies go down in China... Do you think somewhere else will pick it up from them and then produce different things from them, or?
Well, that's just what happens. That's the beautiful thing about capitalism. The only reason we don't produce shit is because it's cheaper to get it elsewhere. That is the only reason this country don't produce shit. I were just trying to find out how many people in China vape, because obviously if you go to an expo, you see all the Chinese smoking. It turns out it is actually quite big, especially amongst the youth. But that's the key issue here. If there's lots of people vaping in China, it could just be the e-liquid side. They're trying to pull in revenue off that.
Yeah.
But what China's done, I was reading about this a couple of months ago. China's as big as it is because they made the trade deals with the rest of the world, which is quite a new thing. They haven't always been this way. It only because they opened up their economy to us. So with that intellect, they're not going to be stupid enough to then go, fuck it, you put price everything up, then they'll stop buying it. Because they know that there is vape manufacturers out of the US. Fair enough that I suppose all the UK brands, UKAE, are all made in China, which I find brilliant. Oh, we're British and proud, but we're made in China. But them companies won't suffice to that. They'll source the other manufacturers. And that'll be the same around the globe. There'll be companies that are based in Canada, say, that either make it in Canada or make it in China, that will then find other sourcing options. Because there's other places like India, for example, they're quite good at manufacturing things.
Yeah.
So China can't risk that too much because but there's a level in tax where it becomes beneficial. People always say in our country we should tax the rich. Tax the rich and fuck off, and then we're getting less tax. So there's an even keel where you've got to find it, if you know what I mean. And I don't think China's that stupid to bid it all off, to make it have that much of an impact. Bearing in mind, £1 per vape manufactured in China will make a fucking mass pot of money for the Chinese government.
You've also got to think about with China, they went massive as well, going in places like Cambodia and building infrastructure into other countries that had very little money to go to their mines, to get copper and to get everything else that they actually need. What happens on that sort of side as well, they could cut the world off. But I don't know if you saw what Vic was saying, that there was actually a number of companies that are actually going bust in China.
Well, China's one of the fastest, or has been up until this point, one of the fastest growing economies. Well, you only have to look at the motor industry to see that. But the Irishans just made a good point. The Chinese government own their tobacco industry through the STMA, and they are trying to capitalize on the fact that they make the majority of the hardware. I can see the hardware being taxed at a higher bracket than it is, because they make so much because they make the majority of hardware, which China does.
So then if you sit down the same way as Harley was saying, then it just moves to a different company, to a different country.
Yeah, or they could just pick up the company and move to Hong Kong.
Or they just, but I don't think so much with Hong Kong, because obviously they're so tied in with China. But yeah, you just move. And if you look a lot of these factories, I got sent. They've got like container crates. Where they sit down there and they've got all these machinery that are doing, and they go, right, you're building this, bang, 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 bang. And we've said for years and years about, like clones and stuff. A lot of them are coming off the same conveyor belt. One bucket goes into that one bucket. It's exactly the same.
The thing is, I mean, let's be frank here. It's all ifs, ands, and buts. And if it's and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a merry fucking Christmas. What we're doing here right now, just for everyone to understand, is we're just saying, oh, this has happened. What could be the fallout from it? The fact is, we're probably not going to see any fallout for a good 1 or 2 years, unless China really stomps hard. Well, then we'll find out in the next year.
Matt Chandler saying, you think Matt Chandler, nice to see you, brother. Big love to you, and also the wonderful self of Vape is in here as well. Make sure, if you've not been over to his channel, make sure you go and subscribe to him. He's an absolute wonderful bloke. I love him so much. Matty, you have to think we have all been spoiled by cheap products from China.
We have.
Yeah, you've got to think about it from day dot. We've all been spoilt by cheap T-shirts as well from Primark. So
the thing is that I remember the original drag that I bought was 60 quid. And then I bought a tank on top of that, which was 30 quid. It was like 90 quid for a setup. Nowadays, you can get a setup for, what, 20, 30 pounds?
Dude, if you go back to when I first started vaping in 2006, I paid for a pen design 80 quid. If you go back to the proper designs, it were expensive, but then it came to the point where it was mass produced. But that means, big love, Toma, I'll email you later, brother. In fact, I'll talk about that in a second. But also you've got to think about the stuff that else you get from China that is mass produced. That's cheaper.
Well, they do mass produce a lot of things because that's the nature of what they do. They are very good at mass production.
But we were talking about this a little bit earlier. I don't know if you all realise that, like Geek Vape and Lost Vape, they have like actual, not cities, but they have actual places where everybody live. So they have places where they live, they go to the factory, and the grandma works there, the man works there, the dad works there, and they all do different jobs, and they all live in this little community.
Yeah.
And that's when, obviously they were saying, no, you're not going to be able to get the stuff out from China. Well, all these people were all locked down in their one little place, and nobody went in, nobody went out, and they carried on producing.
See, I didn't know this. Rob Stanley just said that Hong Kong is now under full control of China. I never knew that.
China is...
Apparently happened a couple of months ago.
All the way around.
Yeah, all the way around. Yeah, no, Hong Kong is now under full control of China.
Yeah, sorry, I thought you said that Hong Kong is full control of China.
No, it's under the full control of China.
So this is where the UK government had a deal with them to say that they couldn't do this. So that's where there's been a load of trouble, but it just happened just as COVID hit.
Yeah. Well, apparently it happened a couple of months ago. So, but then again, I live in my own little bubble. So. Well,
no, again, it had been in the news. This is what I was trying to say to you. The Dover talk. And this is where they were all rioting in the streets. And again, this just happened You know, when COVID first kicked off, you're not talking like it happened last week. You're talking like two year back. You know, when all this kicked off.
Where have you read about the tax implications?
I haven't. That's summation. It's pure summation. We don't know what's going to happen. The man not even get taxed at all. Nothing might happen.
The only reason I said that is because while I was looking for how many people vape in China, so when you type in China vape, most of the articles are bringing it under the tobacco thing, which has been discussed since March.
Yes.
But the summarization I just got through them 7 articles I've just flicked through are all that they want more control over how it's done, which is what you've been asking for in this country.
Yeah.
They want more control how it's advertised. They want more control how it's sold. So there might be some sort of umbrella. So obviously, I'm not in China. I ain't got a clue about their stupid laws.
Who are we calling them stupid?
Did you see how I stuttered then as I shut myself down?
Who are we call them stupid? They are very intelligent people.
I didn't say they were stupid. I said they had stupid laws. Which is all coming here, don't worry. Yeah, if I were a conspiracy, Mr. B, you finally found one. There might be some sort of umbrella tax, but from what I've gathered, from what I'm reading here, the main point is to pull it in and go, right, no, this is a nicotine product. So we're pulling it under the tobacco product. We're going to make it stricter for kids buying them. We're going to limit the advertising and be a lot more strict about how that industry is conducted. Which, like you were saying over a week with your petition and things, that isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially with the enlightenment of disposables.
Yeah, it's one of them things. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what the implications are.
I think Flat Cat put a great comment in there, which was if vape manufacturers were making as much money as they think, the likes of Sony, Apple, Samsung would bring out mods, which, by the way, he thinks it would be cool. In the way that we spoke about this before, I don't think that Samsung, Apple, or Sony want to get involved in the situation to do with vaping because they are so big around the world and there's so many places that don't want vaping. I don't think Samsung, Sony, or any of these people don't want to get involved in that sort of controversy.
Yeah, especially when you look at how the technological market's moving on. I mean, shall we get into self-driving cars or shall we get into vapes? You know what I mean?
God, yeah.
Shall we get into the neurochip or shall we get into vapes? I mean, there's a lot of different ways a company like Samsung, Apple, because Apple are going into the car industry. But there's a lot of different ways for them sorts of companies to go in. And I don't think the vape industry's got that much to offer them.
No.
If it did, you've got to think we've been sat here for quite a number of years. I'm sure Apple would have done some sort of product. I'm sure Samsung would have done it. Now,
I think at one point they might have considered it. But
also, is there actually companies out there that we don't know anything about that are, I can't say this word properly without me sounding drunk, but subsidiary. Of different companies. Do you think there might be something that comes from this? But Flat Cap again, absolutely right, Aidan. Vaping would be completely different nowadays if tobacco companies took the reins at the start, but instead they fought back.
And like Rob Stanley just said, Samsung don't even want their batteries associated with vaping. Too much negative press.
Totally right, Rob. Totally right.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing. But at one point, maybe 2016, they might have considered it. But then again, like I said, there's just too many issues with vaping around the world right now, and it's just not worth the money to put into a PR system to fight it.
Yeah, but like I said, there's that. I mean, I don't think there's enough money in the industry for them. I mean, even if they became a dominant brand, like I said, when you look at laptops, TVs, phones...
Lads, this one's for Kenny 2021. Here we go, Kenny. One for you, brother.
When you look at all the other things that these companies handling, I mean, bearing in mind these companies don't just make that product; they'll make other products for other things and blah, blah, blah. Then when you look at the vape industry, they are quite limited at what they can do and everything else. I mean, I personally can't see a company that big being interested in
Again, sorry to go back to Flat Cap here. I really want a Marlboro Mech mod, for fuck's sake. No,
look at the bro. Please come back, Flat Cap. Please come back, Flat Cap.
I spoke to Tom.
They called it
Tom from Vape Finder. Yeah, but I love Flat Cap. Vape Finder. So I spoke to Tom from Vape Finder years ago when he obviously set up the app and he set all the bits up, and we were talking about big tobacco companies buying out smaller people who would come out with an idea that went, look, this all works, so they give him 10 million for this. And I went, well, I think it's really, really bad. And he went, which sort of made me think about it. We were sat in an expo, we'd had a beer. So what he said was, he went, I tell you what, if that person has got that one idea and they've sold it to this big tobacco company who's then going to push that idea and they've given him 10 million, he's then got 10 million to come up with another idea. And I thought that was a really good way of looking at it. Obviously, big tobacco has got a lot of money.
Yeah, I've said this since before I even became on YouTube. The big tobacco should not now or ever have been trusted in the vape industry. The problem with big tobacco is it spends more money than we can even imagine seeing fighting to keep tobacco, lobbying and going backhanders and doing really dodgy, nasty things to make sure that they keep profit. So starting a vape company to fuck up the vape industry is the best thing they've ever done. They earn money while they're doing it and they fuck it up. And then I think I said this a couple of months ago as well, because I had a rep that works for a big tobacco brand. And he only comes in and has a chat. I've never bought off him, and he knows I never will. And he was saying that he works for a different brand, and he used to sit in the meetings like some sort of managerial shit, and that 100% intention isn't to sell products. It's to sell products that aren't other people's, or to get people back on fights. And they don't care which way around that is. So then when you get at Expo and you see Vape going, come here, come get some free shit. Instead of thinking, fuck off, I don't want your free shit. That's like saying, yeah, he raped my wife, but, you know, he's doing something different. He's changed his job, so we're going to trust him now. You fuck off. I don't trust him nowhere.
I'll tell you what, Ollie, I think we should. Jane put a thing in there now. We love Jane, don't we? We love.
Is it Harley's hand check time?
Yeah, we love a little bit of kinky Jane. We always love a little bit of kinky Jane. And big love to everybody who's joined us tonight. Thank you so much. I know we've been off for 3 weeks, and all three of us have proper missed you. And we've missed being around together each other, haven't we? We've been saying so. Big love to you all. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of hand check time.
It's that time, people. It's hand check time.
You can't go. Hand check time.
Tinkle time. I got as many this week because I was a bit naughty and I completely. I didn't forget. I just didn't have time. So everyone commented on Finn's post, which I thought were quite nice. Community spirit. Thanks for that, Finn. Amanda Gibson with the Vupu Vinci Shifi Podkit with the IGV Bubblegum Salts, the Oxford XW Pod Salt, Lychair Ice, and the Revo Nitro Oxford Arbiter 2 and the Cryptid Energy Blue.
Ooh,
I don't know.
Very nice.
I don't know whether it should have been a breath and whether it shouldn't have been. I removed all that bit. But I do actually like that picture. It looks very snaz, doesn't it? Very suave.
Yes, very suave.
Next up, we've got Star Wars. And it's Kieran Doyle's original X-Ross, X-Ross Mini, IVG Blueberg, IVG Frozen Cherries, and a mug of tea. Oh, I could do with a mug of tea right now. Finn! Our lovely Finn with the Go 21. Do you know how good I broke mine? I think that's the favourite mod I've ever had. It's the Vandy Vape Go 21, the Pyro V2, and the Mustache Milk by Charlie Chalkdust.
Where's the push bike? Oh, I thought you were going to put a push bike in this picture this week. Must not have done.
Bastard. Full Moon. I'll have to catch up on replay, but I've got the VF Bulk on the Shakira with some DIY strawberry and raspberry ice.
Ooh.
Ooh, I like that.
I haven't seen one of them mouses for years.
I used to have one of them.
It's a crystal maze.
Aiden's back. Gaily Bops!
I never left.
Intake Jewel on the Yves Dello.
Evil dildo.
Yeah, I had to be very careful how I said it. And Spotted Dick.
Oh, big love. I love you loads.
Spotted Dick Dildo. Gareth George, the Hammer of God with a la and some Rochford lemon meringue. Fucking love that, man. Do you know, I love that, man. Do you know, I order off him every couple of weeks, you know. I'm addicted. I've got a shop full of liquid. I've got my own brand. I've got my own e-liquid brand. And I've got
which has been going now just over a year, by the way.
And I still buy his. That's bad, isn't it?
It's not, it's good.
Do you know what this is?
Oh, it's our Jane.
It's our Jane with a fluffy background.
Mm.
Some beautiful, mate.
The only thing about it, though, Jane, where's the whips?
Do you know, I was thinking earlier, I'd love to spend a weekend with Jane sucking on her mechs.
But before you know it, you're on a swing. Kick me in the balls. Kick me in the balls.
She has got some really pretty mechs, hasn't she? I like him a lot. Macaulay Duffin, the August with the Carefree. Do you know, when I saw this, I thought, oh yeah, another picture from Finn. But this is actually really clever, innit? Like he says, battery for days. He's also got the IDVVVG Paradise Lagoon, 20 milligram.
Big love, Macca.
Battery for days. Matt Chandler. These mods are getting very popular ever since Jane posted a picture with a whip. I have noticed. And I think Ransom as well.
That is beautiful.
Matt Hardy.
Fucking hell.
Told Matt Hardy don't know how far to does it. It's the brand new Vape Smarter Urgent mod. DNA 100C, single 21700, and he's got the Romeo Wasp Nano 2 RTA.
It's nice to see that he's in his front room. Wilder West, Wilder West, ladies and gentlemen, you can get that. It's so cheap. I think you're talking about £20 for 3 bottles, 100 mils, 300 mil for about 20 quid.
You know, Shopper Road from the other week. Someone came in the other week and he said, oh, I've just got these. And it were 3 80ml bottles for £10. I went, good luck with that. That's going to be wank. And he came back in the next day and went, I need to buy some juice, that shit.
Wilder West, there's going to be certain flavours that you're not going to like out of it, but pick your flavours. They've got loads, and they are a really good company.
Just to clarify, that weren't the Wild West. That's Nicky Maynard with a Lost Vape Felma.
Nicky!
Quest, and the Horizon Tech Sakers. See, I told you if you were getting popular. What have you done, Jane? Oh. Nigel Brooks, Fallout with the Armageddon Atocha.
Nice.
Mech with the Fallout Screamer RDA.
Why does that scream at me, Dragon?
What?
I just feel like it's a dragon. No, not that bit. I'm on about the actual green bit. It's like a dragon for some reason.
It's like something Slimer will leave behind.
Mm-hmm. You've been there before, bro.
Ghostbusters.
Oh, sorry, I thought it meant your nurse.
Paul Griffiths, Rebel 250C, Squonk, Pyro V4.
That is really badly made, isn't it? Look at all them grooves in it.
3D printed mods, aren't they? They're just not. Mind you, that could do a bit of wear.
Could be. Got rough pockets.
And that's it. We're done.
Oh.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much to everybody who actually participated. I know we missed a few over the weeks, but thank you so much.
Thank you, Finn.
Finn, big love to Finn. I've seen him just for we were on the show. Big love to Finn. He's a lovely.
Do you know what really pisses me off?
Finn.
YouTube.
Oh.
No, Finn pisses me off for different reasons.
Hold on a minute, just 2 seconds before you do this pissed off YouTube bit, which I'm following you with it. Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful people at the Rochford Project, the wonderful Jay, don't forget down the bottom of the corner, 3 Men Vape gets you 15% off. And now is the time that put Rochford in and you get to win 2 bottles of the Rochford Project. Hit me, Mr. B.
Oh, it's a Christmas present. Fucking bastard, too far
Sorry,
away.
I'll just stand outside the other bit of the fucking room. You never catch me.
Christmas. Yeah, no, that's a fair point. You'd have to come near me first.
Come get me.
I ain't coming to you. Fuck that shit. Too much effort. Yeah, no, what really pisses me off and boils my bollocks is YouTube. They have been hitting the likes of Mike Vapes and Grim Green of all people. Grim Green, the nicest person in vaping, apart from maybe Harley. That's because he never talks. But Grim Green is the nicest person in vaping, and YouTube hit him. As well as they are hitting other people like alcohol channels, smoking channels, politics channels. They're hitting quite a few. But they are coming down hard with the twat boot. And it's getting to a point where I'm genuinely considering fucking off to Twitch for most of my content.
Yeah, but are you saying that YouTube checks people's channels and goes, do you know what, he's a nice dude, we'll leave off a bit? Like Grim Green is a nice lad, so
I think they do. I think we should.
Prick. Hit him hard.
Why don't they? They need to. Strike his channel into fucking oblivion. But
that's hypocritical. Banned.
Yes. But no, I think YouTube's really
Mike Haynes, love you loads,
too big for their boots. What makes me giggle is they are operated in the land of free speech. But it only appears it's free speech as long as you say what they want you to say.
So, obviously, we spoke a little bit about this before. So this isn't brand new. This sort of like came... We had years ago where we actually got the ad money. So when you was actually doing reviews, when you actually got it, you got the ad money. Then they stopped it. Anything to do with vaping, tobacco products, sort of that, they stopped it. I think about 2018. Which really crushed everything. It really crushed it. Then people started getting hit. I think roughly around about 2019, Vic got hit. Mike Vapes got hit. There were a number of people who got hit.
Dash Vapes?
Dash, yeah. Well, Dash were a little bit different. Dash...
Yeah, because he had links and shit, and he was actually a little bit naughty.
He never sort of actually moved his links. A lot of people just moved the links. Now, me personally as a reviewer, I do a little bit of a Mike Vapes. I actually sit there and say, look, I can't put any links into it, but if you could do a bit of Google foo, you can actually go and find where you can get this from. Now, Mike doesn't... I think Mike Vapes, out of anybody who puts any reviews out there, is the most openest of, look, I'm not selling this, because he tells you right at the end. He does it properly. Probably the same as Vic. And there's a number of... You look at Dean the Devil Vapor, he does exactly the same. Because we were, you got to think when it first came in, when they changed all the rules, we wasn't allowed to have, the actual logo up for any more than 30 seconds. You couldn't have any websites. You couldn't have anything of this. It's really hard. But the bit that I always find with YouTube is they don't tell you what you've done wrong. It's in a massive great big bubble. So they hit you, and then you go, what have I done wrong?
We've said this before, and we always end up going back to it. And the problem is monopoly. That is the pure problem. And it really gripes me that Mr. B said, and he's getting on with political. That is the main fucking problem. We've gone on to this internet thing, which is, speaking of the Julian Assange supporter in there, the internet is the best tool we've ever had as a human race. Regardless whether it's for political reasons or any other reasons, scientific research, it's pure via. But then now you've got this mass censorship machine because, you know what, tobacco's not that good, we're going to get rid of it. You know what, and the articles that just fucking disappear and everything else. And you can call me a conspiracist as much as you want for saying this, but even when it comes to COVID research, there is, you can get any doctor in the world to put his opinions on COVID on Facebook, YouTube, whatever, and if they do not fit with what the mainstream scientists are saying, it's gone. Now, that's not a good thing. That doesn't stop the conspiracies, because all it does make those conspiracists go, why have you deleted that video? And any scientific forum needs them different opinions for scientists to talk. So you go, and it's not, I don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about COVID, I'm talking about in general.
Yeah, Facebook, so I totally agree with you in general of what you're doing, but a lot of people think that what's said on YouTube is gospel. Not necessarily YouTube, on the internet. So you've got a lot of people who can suddenly put a lot of stuff up And also raise up in the Google, because a lot of people use Google. The majority of people will use Google. So if they type something in, my arm's falling off, they will tell you that it's an alien that's just come down and it's going to grow it. Before you know it, that's spread around. The trouble about the internet is it hasn't actually got some sort of somebody going, look, that's not really true. Your arm's not going to fall off and this alien's going to come down and put it down there. But there is people out there that believe it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a mixture of... I think it's great for the information. I think for putting down there for information, but I think it's also a very bad thing in points of that some of the information that's on there isn't right because people can put it on there.
The problem is when you try and censor things and when you try and hide little bits of whatever information, it's like America with aliens. Something happens. America comes out and says, yeah, it was a hot weather balloon. And everyone goes, well, hang on a minute. A blind man riding backwards on a donkey can see that wasn't a fucking hot air balloon. You're bullshitting. So then you're obviously hiding something. Well, what are you hiding? And that's when the conspiracy theories come out. And that's what happens when you try and censor anybody on anything.
Another thing I always say is the key to anything, be it racism, sexism, any negative thing in the world, the key is education.
Yes.
Well, for years and years, we've been teaching kids how to use technology, but we haven't been teaching kids how to research. If you teach kids how to research what's up with you, how to find factual information, then you don't have to censor information. Because when we go on to imatipforum.com and find out that actually your arm's been up by an alien.
You can get these on Little Bro Vapes' store, by the way.
But then you go on 3 other websites and they say something completely different, then that's not trustworthy, you know what I mean? So yeah, you have to teach that. You can't just have someone.
I totally agree. I'm sat down there. I think Salford again. Again, maybe I sit here as an oldie. Salford's a bit older than me, but only by a couple of months. I used to like my kids going to go and get books. But then again, everything they can get from books is on the internet.
Yep.
Libraries are not the place to go. I'd rather my kids to go to a library, but...
Well, even libraries all have internet connections now anyway. So it's
half of them now. Half the libraries now are run by volunteers.
Yeah, which is sad in its own right. But it's going back to YouTube trying to strike channels unwarrantedly. I mean, I know Grimm's had his strike removed, or Mike Vape's still fucking fighting his, and it's completely... He had 7 videos exactly the same. All got striked. 4 he managed to get overturned,
Richard,
but 3 of them still stand, and YouTube will not give an answer on why those 3 are not okay, but the other 4 are, when they're all exactly the same videos.
So the way YouTube run, which I know you know this, but we're just going to say it for
yeah.
The way YouTube run is that they have something that the algorithm. So not the algorithm. The way the actual run through everybody else's video, and if certain things flag up, then that's where they pull it. It's an actual thing to do with the computer. It's not a person. So then what happens is that they have to then log a complaint. And if that person can be asked to actually watch it, then it might get retracted. And if that person can't be asked,
but it still goes back to not being able to speak to anybody.
Oh, yeah.
A great example of how shit it all is.
Come on, people, get your Rochford in.
A woman a couple of years ago conducted her own orchestra and recorded it and put it on YouTube. Every single bit of this orchestra performance was original, unique, just been done, never been performed before, first time, completely unique. She put it up on YouTube and it got copyright striked and removed. So she's like, what the fuck? And there's no what you can do at that point until she posted online. And some copyright solicitor went, do you know what? I'm going to help you for free, blah, blah, blah. Took it up, and they had to go to court with, I think it was Sony that they eventually went to court with. And do you know what the actual infringement on the video was that belonged to Sony? It was the applause at the end of the video that pinged up the copyright, and Sony went, yeah, just wipe the video off. And this is the massive problem with the algorithms doing things, especially when there's no person on the other end that you can phone up and go, knob it. Why is that? Oh, well, if you look at it, you know what I mean? That is the entire point. It is all automated. There is no.
But you've got to think.
Don't give a shit.
I tell you what. One of you two will tell me the actual amount of videos that are actually uploaded per hour to YouTube. It's got to be billions,
millions, well into the illions.
In trying. You haven't got enough staff. There's not enough people who are sat there to be able to do or go through everything that's there.
Oh, that's bollocks. The amount of money they've got, and even if it's just monetized, right? I'm a YouTube partner. That's what I am.
Means nothing, mate.
Yeah, no, exactly. I am a partner to them, which means in my eyes I'm a business partner. I upload a video. They say actually, it doesn't matter what type of partner I am. I'm a partner with them by their own contract. They take one of my videos down because it comes copyright, and I've just fucking made that. It was me going da. So then what the fuck? How do I then contact them and say, actually, you've made it in our agreement, you fucked up and there's an error? You can't, and that's the entire point.
You're never going to be able to take YouTube to court, though, are you?
What got me then was, I am a YouTube partner. I'm a partner of YouTube. In YouTube's eyes, you're nothing more than a bit on the side.
No, but that's what I mean. If they said, right, we'll delegate, even if it's a team.
You feel like you're a Margaret, but really you're just a Ethel.
No, but you're completely missing the point, and it was YouTube that brought this up. You've got a platform, but they say, all right, you upload content, we'll put advertisements on that content, sell the advertisements. So that they don't actually provide anything apart from the hosting and the software that runs the algorithms, blah, blah, blah. We're providing the content. We're the partners that are getting a very small percentage of it, but we don't have any say when something gets struck down. They're not holding up their side of a deal. All they're actually doing is keeping the servers running and they're protecting the person that's got the most money. Because if you had more money than Sony and it pinged up copyright, I bet you'd fucking win. If you lived in Silicon Valley outside of fucking Alphabet's headquarters.
Here's the biggest problem.
Just while I realise, John, I'm just going to roll the giveaway.
Oh, he's rolling it.
Terry
he's choosing
B.
now.
Keep going. Terry B, you've won. Do you want it?
The biggest problem of all is there's no competition. You've got Daily Motion, you've got Vapemill. That's it. As far as storing content is concerned, live stream, you've got Twitch. That's it. So YouTube's
we sat quite a number of years ago, and there were different platforms, and we've all put our stuff on different stuff. Mate, it's something that's going to be carrying on for a long time. There's supposed to be an Amazon coming across. There was going to put a platform out there. Terry B, just let us know, mate. Give us your address. Email me, bro. It's something that's going to continue to happen. The first thing that I'd like to say about it is, how can you have some bird jiggling her boobies with like a see-through top on? How can you have people reviewing drugs, which here in the UK, which is illegal, which is marijuana, which whether you smoke it, it's up to you, whatever you do. Yeah. But here in this country, it's illegal, but you can still watch videos on it. Something that I've always said is that they should go by each country. So YouTube should obviously sit in the UK and sit there and
exactly.
And then go, look, it's okay for you to do what you're doing in this country. You can't do it in that country.
And by the way, just to backtrack a minute, you said how many videos uploaded per hour on YouTube? There's not enough people. Google, bearing in mind, Google gets images that are posted across the entire fucking internet.
Google owns YouTube.
Yeah, Google that indexes pictures all over the internet, apart from on the fucking Onion and on the robot Do Not Read. They have people looking through pictures to make sure that everything's right and handy. They actually have people. These people have to have counselling because they see some really gruesome shit and some really fucked up shit. But they have people going through the fucking pictures. So if they can do that just to make sure their fucking search engine's running right, how come we can't have somebody to answer copyright queries? All it has to be is somebody that goes, right, you've said that, all right. Yeah, that is a different audio.
I don't think you sat there how big and massive this is.
Hold on. I think
it's the world. You're not just talking about like a few European countries. You're talking about the world, dude.
I think the problem that's
like you sitting down there being Santa and now trying to get every single kid's fucking letter and replying to it.
There's more pictures on Google per minute than there is on videos on YouTube per hour.
What Harley's saying is correct in the fact that in every country there is someone from Google or a team from Google looking through photos that go on Google.
No, they're not.
The difference with YouTube is YouTube has only been making profit for Google in the last 2 or 3 years.
They're not. No, they're not. What they're doing is they're using an algorithm to be able to look at them photographs.
Yeah, but there's still a team of people looking at them as well.
We're not talking about
I disagree. The only time it's ever, I think it's flagged up. If there's something on them photographs that are there, it's flagged up.
This is not a censorship thing or a terrorist thing. This is an actual job of going through the pictures and checking that the algorithm's working and everything else.
There's actually jobs on YouTube of actually YouTubers flagging up other people's content. So there's people getting paid from YouTube going around other people's stuff going, that's not right, and they're getting paid. So if you're sat there in Google, they're not going, I'll tell you what, we're going to go through everybody's pictures that they've uploaded.
Yeah, but you've just said there's an actual... mate, it's an actual job. Trust me, it is an actual job.
But they're actually YouTubers who get paid for it. They're not actually somebody who works for YouTube.
It's that Little Bro Gates' channel blew up.
As Google have a job of people, and I'm not saying that they have an entire depot and an entire warehouse of people doing this job, but there is an actual job within Google, not some freelance knobhead online, an actual job of somebody that gets a full psychology fucking healthcare package with the job because of the shit that they have to do.
Well, they don't do that on what we've got.
Pictures.
It's called dobbing people in. It's the same as next door if she's putting her music on too loud. It's called being a grass.
No, this is not for Google to then phone the fucking police and stuff. It's for the Google's fucking database. Oh,
ladies and gentlemen, we just found out that fucking Harley's a grass.
What are you on about? I liked it much more when you didn't drink.
I don't drink. Don't start that shit off, mate. They'll be doing fucking videos about me again. I've already had. The other day I had 0 something. It says to me, "You drink in the morning." Well done, son. I drink in the morning. I have a nice little bit of a coffee.
Oh, okay. Can we all just agree that YouTube needs to improve and stop fucking people over?
Well, apparently to fucking Harley, we need to get more staff.
We do. So what is your answer then to these problems of people getting flagged up and everything else?
The problem
the only answer is lessen the algorithms or get somebody to check the fucking.
No, I think you'll find that the problem is, where is YouTube based?
America.
There you go.
Silicon Valley.
There you go. That's where you're going to sit down there. There is nothing more about anybody going through anything. The whole point of being the vaping community getting hit is because, and I think if you looked at the percentages of like political channels and people who are with marijuana and all that stuff, the vaping community probably got hit more. It's all to do with money, bro. And it's what we've been saying for years and years and years. It's all to do with the money. And
okay.
That's what I think.
So to surmise, YouTube pisses us all off.
Harley, by the way, I think you should start fucking drinking, son. You'd be a lot more interesting.
Oh, Jesus.
No,
Jesus.
I love you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to see a fight.
Just to let people know about the auction that we had, everybody's stuff, prizes, I would say, everything's been sent out apart from Thomas and also Roberts, Chris Robertson. We're just still waiting. It's coming over shipping from Innikin. As soon as it gets here, it will be out here. Everybody else's stuff is out there, so just hold on. It's coming from Innikin. So big love to you all. Harley, I love you, mate.
I'm finding an article to talk about this job, and I'm going to post it on the Facebook group with a big fuck you, Aidan.
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock now. There's no point doing it now.
So don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, we will have a big graph.
Welcome to bed.
Say your goodbyes, Harley.
Bye, you bastards. Chat, you've been delightful. People on the replay, you've been delightful. If anybody knows of anybody that works at fucking Google, make sure you post a link in the Facebook group. If not, I'll have to do it all by myself, as per usual.
It's on its way from China, but we don't know if he's going to turn up.
Aidan,
As if Mr. Beast put his fucking thumb in it.
Aiden, it's been a pleasure. Mr. B, it's been a pleasure. Goodbye. See? Lisa Simpson, that job exists, Harley. See? I'm finally getting some backing. Bastards. Telling you.
Mr. B. Quit. You look like you're looking for your number when you're in doctors.
I'm
We're this way, mate. We're over here.
My brain's just gone. No, honestly, it's been.
Your fucking eyebrows, have they? What? You can't do a serious face with no eyebrows.
You can't, can you? God. On that note, I just want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. That's all from me and Harley. And I'm going to pass you back to El Jefe, leader of the channel.
I love it when you say that. Do you know what? You give me a half a lob on. And the best thing about it is Lisa Simpson was sat there eating her lemon muffin, which is always nice to know. Well done. I hope
that's what he said.
Yeah, I hope the evil wizard was involved in that. Big love to everybody. Look after yourselves. We will see you next week. We are back, people. Everything's all back to normal. It's been I'll tell you what, I've loved tonight. It's been absolutely brilliant. We've all had a good old giggle.
Yeah, we've had to do it YouTube. We've had to do it in China. We'll give away some liquid. It's been a good night.
Make sure you get over to the Rochford Project. Absolute fantastic juices. It's always nice to have some good juices. Make sure you join us next week. Thank you so much to all the spanners who have looked after us tonight, and also everybody who's joined us tonight. And we'll see you next week. Same bat channel, same bat time. Good night.
Bye. Is it true that you have sex with your cap on?
I do, yeah.
That's from his last sex session.
That's my good queen.